Hello again, Year 1. Welcome back to session 5 of our online English lessons together. I'm Mrs. Francis. It's nice to see you all again. Last time we were working together, we were looking at this book, How to Catch a Star. We've been looking at this the whole time we've been working together, actually, so far. But last time, we were looking at some different ways that we could suggest to the boy for how to catch the star, because all the ways that he tried didn't really work. So we were coming up with our own sentences for how we might try and catch the star to give him some extra ideas. Now, today we're going to be doing our last session looking at this book. After that, we will be looking at another Oliver Jeffers book, which is very exciting. But for today, this is our last session looking at how to catch a star. And what we're going to be doing today, let me just share my screen so that you can see what we're going to be doing. So we're going to be having a look at the different verbs in the story. Now, if you haven't heard the word verbs before, don't worry. A verb is just a doing word or an action word. So we're going to be looking at all the action words, all the verbs that the boy tries out in the story. We're also then going to be looking at a spelling rule, which is adding the ed suffix onto the ends of words so that they become the past tense. Again, don't worry too much about that at the moment. That's just what we're going to be doing today. And then we're going to have a go at making our own extra pages for the book with our own suggestions about how he might try and catch the star. So hopefully you've thought of even more ideas now since last time about different ideas for how he could catch the star. Now, as usual, we need to just make sure that we've got everything that we need ready for our learning. So we need to make sure we're sitting comfortably. We need to make sure that we're watching really carefully. We've got good listening, that we haven't got anything distracting us. And we've got our pen or pencil or whiteboard pen, and we've got some paper to write on or a whiteboard to write on like I've got here. Okay, so can you please make sure now that you've got something to write with and something to write on? If you don't have that, pause the video and go and get all your bits and pieces together, and then you can press play once you're back and once you are ready to go. Okay, once you've got everything ready, we are going to do a quick phonics warm-up, again looking at our long E sounds. Okay, so can you get, please, your paper or your whiteboard, whatever it is that you're writing on, and on your screen you will see 3 pictures. And you've got 3 different ways of spelling the E, the long E sound at the top, okay? I would like you to have a go at writing on your whiteboards or on your paper the 3 words that are in front of you, okay? So those 3 pictures, can you have a go at working out which E spelling you need for each of those words? Once you've done that, I'd like you to use your sound buttons or your sausages and beans or your dots and dashes, whatever it is that you call them, to split up the sounds in the word as well, okay? So when I say go, you're going to pause the video and you're going to have a go at writing these 3 words using that long E sound, okay? Pause the video now and off you go. Okay, have you got those 3 words on your whiteboard or your paper? Right, the first word that we're going to have a look at is that monkey. There, can you see the monkey? I'll try and move my screen slightly so that, oh, can't work out where to sit. There, so you can see my whole whiteboard now, can't you? So the first word is monkey. Now that E sound is at the end of the word, so that might give us a little bit of a clue. Shall we have a go? The word is monkey. Have a look at your word and see how you spelt it. So we've got monkey, monkey, and it's got a sneaky letter O there. Sounds a little bit like it could be an A, could be a U instead, but it's a monkey. It's got an M-O-N-K-E-Y, monkey. Okay, second word. Now, I realised as I was doing this, some of you might have chosen the word sea, or you might have chosen the word beach. So we'll do both of those, okay? So if you chose the word beach, Each. Beach. Or if you chose the word sea, like that. And then finally, we've got the word tree. The word tree. So we've got 3 different long E sounds in those words. Okay, so just double check. I'll hold that up so you can see it. Just double check your whiteboards or your bits of paper to see if you've got those right and write them down if not. Okay, right, our next job, we're going to play a very quick game using our long E sounds. So I'm just going to stop sharing this screen and I'm going to share another screen with you, which is here. Okay, so in the treasure box, there are going to be some words that are going to pop out at us, okay? And those words are, hopefully, if it's worked properly, are going to use some different spellings for the long E sound, okay? Your job is to tell me whether these words are real words or not real words. In your school, you might call them real words or alien words, or you might call them real or fake or made up words, okay? But it's whether it's a real word or not. So we're going to read the word really carefully, and then we are going to decide whether it's a real one or it's not a real one, okay? Just going to put the sound on because there's some sound here. Okay, you ready? Okay, here's our word in the bottom corner. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to sound it out. Can you sound out that word and can you read that word for me? Valley. A valley. Do we think a valley is a real word or not a real word? Real word or not a real word? Valley. A valley is a real word, and I'm going to draw now for you. When you've got 2 hills like that, you might have a river running between them possibly. But this bit here, the bit in between 2 hills, that's called a valley. So a valley is a real word.
Well done.
Okay, let's see what the next one says. Deast. East. Deast. Do you think that sounds like a real word or not a real word? Can you show me? Can you either put your thumbs up if you think it's a real word or thumbs down if it's not a real word? Excellent. Not a real word. Deast. If it was the word beast, this word, if it was this word, it would be a real word. But the word deast, not a real word.
Well done.
Okay, next word. We'll do a few more. Okay, can you sound out that word and read it for me? Heap. 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 Do you think that's a real word or not a real word? Real word or not a real word? That is a real word. It is a real word. So a heap might be, it means like a big pile of something. So you might have a heap of dirt, lots and lots of dirt, or a heap of books, lots and lots of books piled up. So heap is a real word.
Well done.
Okay, we'll do one more. Look at this word really carefully. Look for that long E sound at the end of the word, isn't it here? Can you sound out and read that word for me? Is that a real word or not a real word? Money is the word, so it is a real word, isn't it? Let's just do one more.
Well done.
Okay, sound this one out really, really carefully. carefully. Really carefully. Lonely. Lonely. Does that sound like a real word or not a real word? Show me with your thumbs, yes or no. It's not, is it? It's not a real word, and it's a bit sneaky because if it said this, if it said that word with an all in it, lonely, it would be a word, wouldn't it? If you said, oh, I'm very lonely, I haven't got anyone to play with, lonely, but that doesn't say lonely, does it? It says lonely, so it's not a real word.
Well done.
Okay, right. Let's stop sharing that screen, and then we're going to go back to share my screen again. I'm going to go back to here. Okay, and make it nice and big. Okay, now that our brains are nice and warmed up, we're going to crack on with our final session on how to catch a star. Let me pop it back up there because I might need it in a minute. So, as you can see on your screen, there are lots of different ways here that the boy tried to catch a star, which we know really well now, don't we? We know that he tried to jump up. We know he tried to climb a tree. We know he tried to lasso with a life belt. We know that he tried to use his spaceship, and we know that he asked a seagull for help. None of those ways worked, did they? None of them worked. So, if you look at your screen now, there are some words written on your screen linked to all the ways that he tried to catch the star. So let's have a look at them and let's read them together. Okay, this one here first, we've got the word jumped, asked, lassoed, stretched, reached, and climbed. So all of those words are linked to how he tried to catch the star. And then our little alien friend in the corner is just telling us these are all verbs. They're all things that we do. That's called a verb, something that we do, an action. So, for example, I'm writing on my whiteboard. Writing is a verb because it's something I'm doing. You might be running is an action. Drinking is an action. So anything that you do is a verb. So all of these are things that the boy tried to do. He tried to jump, he asked, he lassoed, he reached, he stretched, he climbed, all things he tried to do to catch the star. Now, I just want you to have a think. What do you notice about all of those words? There's something the same about all those words. Can you spot what it is? Have a look really carefully at the ends of the words. Can you see what's the same about them? That's right. The ED on the end is the same in all of them. Can you see they all end in ED? And that on the end of the word is called a suffix. Can you say the word suffix to me? Suffix. So it's an ED suffix. So if we have a look, the word jump becomes jumped. ED on the end. Stretch becomes stretched. Climb becomes climbed. Ask becomes asked. Reach becomes reached. And lasso becomes lassoed. So, if we want to say that we have already done something, so say we did something yesterday, sometimes the rule is that we can add ED onto the end of those doing words, those verbs, and it makes it into the past tense. It makes it say that it happened, it's already happened. So I might say, today I jump to catch the star, but yesterday I jumped to catch the star. So it's an ED on the end to show that we have already done it. It's finished, it's done, it's completed. Okay. So let's just have a little look. In fact, let's go back. Can you pick one of those words for me? I don't mind which one. Can you pick one and can you write it out for me, and can you add that ed onto the end to show that you have already done it? Don't mind which one it is, just pause the video and choose one to add ed to. Okay, whichever one you chose, just have a double check. Have you added that ed on the end? Brilliant. Let's have a little look then at these verbs, because these ones are very slightly different. These are all from the book as well. These are all from the book, How to Catch a Star. So these words all have an E on the end, like, dance, chase, and love. They already have an E. So let's have a look. If we've got the word like, and I follow my rule, which we said was to add ed, that looks a bit odd, doesn't it? That looks more like it says likeed. It looks like a long E sound. So if the word already ends in an E, we don't need to add another E. We just add a D, liked. Okay, so like becomes, oh, it's going to do this in a funny order. Like becomes liked, dance becomes danced, chase becomes chased, and love becomes loved. He loved the stars very much. Okay, so we're adding ed, but not if it already ends in an E. So I would like you to now have a go. Okay, you've had a go with one of them. Now you're going to, on your paper or your whiteboard, you're going to write each of these words down, and you're going to have a go at adding that ed onto the end. And just be careful, remember to think carefully. If it already ends in an E, what do I need to do? Okay, so I'd like you to pause the video and have a go at, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 words here that I want you to write, and I want you to add on that correct suffix, that ending for the spelling, to make it into the past tense, to say it's already happened. Okay, I'd like you to pause the video now. Okay, have you got 7 words written in front of you? Count them now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Have you got 7 words? Okay, let's have a look and double check that we have got our endings, our suffixes on there correctly. Okay, so that's how I'm going to do it on here. Do it this way and you can see it more. So if you've got jump, we should be adding ed for jumped. We've got ask. What are we going to add to the end? ed, well done. We've got stretch. What are we going to add to the end of stretch? ed. We've got lasso. Remember, he lassoed his life belt. What are we going to add to the end? ed. We've got reach. What are we going to add to the end? Good job, ed. And we've got climb. You notice there's a sneaky B on the end of climb. Climb. And what are we adding? ed. And then our final one, we've got like. Now, think carefully about this one. What letter does like end in? It ends in an E. So am I going to add ed? No, I don't need the E, do I? Because it's already got one. So just for like, we just need D. So if I get my other colour, if I stop sharing, you should hopefully be able to see this a bit clearer. So we've got jumped. There's our ed. We've got asked, stretched, lassoed, reached, climbed, and liked. We've added those ed endings onto the end. Right, let me share my screen again. Okay, hopefully you can see that. So now I want you to have a go at writing a sentence using your ed suffix on the end. Okay, now you've got a picture here to help you. This is the part of the story I would like you to write as a sentence, but you need to make sure that you're including that ed suffix. And you've got two words here that might help you. Okay, so have a think about what your sentence might be. Have a think about what your sentence might be. Okay, let's do this one together then. So we're going to go with, over. What did he do? He asked the seagull to help. He asked, and what do I need to add on to the end? Ed. He asked the seagull, and look, we've got that long E sound there in seagull, haven't we? He asked the seagull to help, full stop, capital letter. Okay, now it's your turn. I want you to have a go at writing a sentence for me with your ed suffix and the word climb with this picture. Okay, can you write a sentence to tell me what's happening in this picture, but remembering to add your ed? Pause the video for me and then write your sentence. Okay, have you written your sentence? Have you checked that your sentence has got a full stop and a capital letter? And have you read your sentence aloud to make sure it makes sense? Okay, you might have something like, what could we do? He climbed, climbed ed. He climbed a tall tree to try and catch the star. You might have something like this. He climbed a tall tree to try and catch the star. Okay, right. Now then, on your page, you have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You've got the 7 words again, the 7 different verbs for how he tried to catch the star in the story. What I'd like you to do now is have a go at writing me some sentences using these words and your ed suffix on the end. Okay, I'd like you to try and write a sentence for each one of these. Okay, so I'd like you to pause the video in a minute, and let's say you need to do at least, so definitely 3 different sentences, but I'd like you to see if you can do more than that. Okay, and at the bottom, can you see I've got a little reminder? We've got our capital letters and our full stops to remind you, and remembering that we are working on adding that ed suffix on the end. Okay, so I'd like you to pause the video and write your sentences to describe how the boy tried to catch the star with an ed ending, ed suffix on your verbs. Okay, pause the video and off you go. Okay, have you written your sentences? Can you show me on your fingers how many sentences you've written? Some of you might have written 3. Some of you might have written 4, 5, 6, or 7. Maybe you even did more than that. But hopefully you have got some sentences in front of you, and every sentence should have what at the beginning? A capital letter, and every sentence should have what at the end? A full stop. Okay, so you might have some sentences. Oh, look, the alien's come a bit late. He's saying, remembering we're practicing adding ed. I'm sure you remember to add that in. So you might have had some sentences a little bit like this. Okay, I'd like you to read your sentences aloud, and then let's have a look at these ones together and see if yours are similar to mine. So you might have something like, the boy jumped to reach the star. Have I got a capital letter? Yes. Have I got a full stop at the end? Yes. Have I got ed written on the end of my verb? The boy jumped ed to reach the star. Yes, I have. Okay, so those are the things I want you to check on yours. Capital letter, full stop, ed suffix. Okay, next one. The boy asked the seagull to help. Your sentence might be slightly different, but I want you to check. Has it got a capital letter? Has it got a full stop? And has it got an ed suffix on the end of ask to make it past tense? Okay, next sentence. Remember, yours might not be exactly the same as this. The boy lassoed the star with a life belt. Has your sentence got a capital letter, a full stop, and an ed suffix on the end of your verb, on the end of that word lasso? Does it have ed on it? Okay, next one. The boy climbed a tree to reach the star. Your sentence with the word climbed might be slightly different, but does it have a capital letter? Does it have a full stop? And does it have ed on the end of climb? Well done. And then the final one is a sneaky one. The boy loved stars very much. So does your sentence have a capital letter? Does it have a full stop? And remembering, because the word love ends with an E, we don't need to add ed, we just need a D on the end. The boy loved stars very much. Excellent job, well done. Okay, we're nearly at the end of our final session on how to catch a star. Now, what I'd like you to do, and you can do this in your own time, you don't have to do it right now, you can do it in your own time. I would like you to imagine that there are some extra pages in the book. Now, we haven't read the whole book, okay? We haven't read the whole book, but I want you to imagine that the boy carried on trying some different options for catching the star. Maybe you could have a go at designing your own page. You could do, let me find an example. You could do a page where you do some drawing and some artwork to show how he was trying to catch the star. And you could do the sentences, the writing, to explain how he tried to catch the star. You need to remember that your words, your writing needs to have your capital letters, your full stops, and it needs to have that ed, those ed suffixes on the end for your own ideas for how you want to catch the star. And I'm sure that if you added in some extra pages, your teachers at school would absolutely love to see the extra pages and the extra ideas. Okay. Now, if you would like to find out what happens in the rest of the story, this is the book. Remember, it's How to Catch a Star by Oliver Jeffers. And it might be your school might have a copy of this, so you might be able to read the rest of the book when you go back to school. It might be that your grown-ups at home might be able to buy you a copy, or it might be that you could get one from the library at some point. Okay, so that's the book if you would like to find out what happens in the rest of the book. Very, very well done. You've done really, really well in this little online learning unit that we've done on how to catch a star. And we will do another one soon on another book by Oliver Jeffers. Let me see if I can get it. The book that we are going to do next is this one. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed working with you, and thank you very much for all of your hard work. Okay, and I will see you again very soon. All right, bye-bye.